So with a recent hack and mega leak, there is a lot to go over when it comes to Pokemon and the Gen 10. So we're not talking about Pokemon Legends ZA that's coming out this week as of the time that I'm recording this video, but the next Gen 10 Pokemon specifically built for the Nintendo Switch 2. And there is a ton of exciting information. Now, just a couple different ground rules here, guys. I won't be going over any super big leaks in terms of Pokemon Legends ZA or revealing Mega Evolutions or any type of weird leaks like that. And I won't be showing any of the footage of some of the stuff out there for fear of potentially getting a copyright block or strike, because this was obviously hacked, stolen data overall. So we're going to go over what Gen 10 is about, what the themes are, what the tentative names or code names are, and what you can expect in this game that's apparently going to be coming in 2026. Plus, we've got some plans for other big games from the Pokemon Company in the future. So shout outs to Necro Felipe, Nintendo Everything, and Stealth. They kind of broke down in a multi-post thread or tweets on Twitter going over everything here. So I'm going to start off with what Necro Felipe had to say about Gen 10 when it comes to Pokemon. So the project is once again Gen 10. The codename is Gaia. The scale is Scarlet and Violet in terms of size. The director is Shigeru Omori. The theme is Infinite, and apparently the budget was around 20 million. The sales target is around 15 million. The platform is for the Nintendo Switch 2, and the versions are two of them. You got Wind and Waves, and the release was supposed to apparently be 2025, but it says delayed. But I doubt they're going to be able to get this game out in 2025, unless maybe Pokemon Legends ZA was supposed to be 2024. And I'm guessing maybe if that was the case, then yes, but then they delayed Pokemon Legends ZA to 2025 to get it on Switch 2 at the same time. So it makes sense there. Stealth also adds in here that the setting inspiration is Southeast Asia, and the Greece rumor was apparently not true if you're going off of this Terra leak that we have here. Next up, let's talk about what's happening with Pokemon Gen 10. So apparently the internal graphics engine, it'll be a new engine that they are using here. And once again, I don't want to show any pictures or screenshots or what's going on there, because all of this could tentatively change overall, but apparently it's using a brand new engine and it's going to look significantly better than anything that they've ever done before. Stealth also chimed in with this, saying Pokemon Wind and Waves Gen 10 for Switch 2 will have a new graphics engine called the Pokemon Engine X, and it's from the Terra leak, of course. And apparently, once again, there was a demo. I'm not going to show it running, but it does seem like there's someone that's kind of zooming in, looking at different fishes. There's a love disc, and I think there's like a whale lord or another type of Pokemon. I don't remember the name of it, but there are a couple different Pokemon there. The water looks like there's going to be some underwater exploration. And yes, just from this early look at the game, it's not final by any means. This definitely seems like it's going to be a bump above if they continue on this track at this point when it comes down to it. So new engine, definitely good. Pokemon Engine X, that sounds good overall. And of course, them actually trying to improve the graphics, improve what's going on there, because that's essentially what the biggest complaint is with Pokemon overall, is that the graphics don't look good. That's what I hear from people most of the time. Gameplay is pretty good in a lot of Pokemon games. Obviously, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had issues when it comes to the frame rate in addition to the graphics and overall, but on Nintendo Switch 2, it runs and looks better, and it just plays great overall on Switch 2. I really like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Nintendo Switch 2, and Pokemon Legends ZA from all the different hands-on is also running and looking good on the Nintendo Switch 2. So Switch 2 might be the system that actually is able to get it done when it comes to putting together the great gameplay of Pokemon games, but also having a better presentation graphics-wise for people who need to have that as well. And of course, Pokemon Company, they're a big company, they're a big studio when it comes to Game Freak making the games. They can do this, and it seems like they're doing it overall. But once again, we're going to have to wait and see how it all plays out. Now, we do have some more information on Pokemon Gen 10. So apparently, this will be an open world game with MMO elements. There will be island exploration in addition to underwater exploration. Very similar to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You can go to the final boss apparently really early, but I'm guessing you'll get smoked, because unlike the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, where you can kind of beat things based off of really weird aspects, Pokemon, it's by level for the most part, so that's going to be tough to be able to do that. But hey, if you want to try, I guess you can. There'll probably be some ways or tricks to be able to get it done way faster than other people. Anyway, there will be a seed Pokemon that will be given to you at the start of the game. The evolution of the seed Pokemon will be procedurally generated, so it'll be slightly different for every player. Very interesting to see how that actually turns out and what they do with that, or even if they keep that concept. 18 challenges, one for each type, mix of gyms and boss Pokemon. So once again, this is looking really good overall when it comes down to it. While all of this sounds good, it might not look the same, it might not be the same, there could be changes. Game development is crazy. We don't know how up to date this was by the time that they actually started talking about this. So until we actually get the product and we actually see what's happening, I think that there could be changes overall that aren't necessarily listed here. So just keep that in mind. But before we continue on with more of the leaks here and discussions on Pokemon, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and let me know what you're most excited about when it comes to the upcoming Pokemon games in the comment section below. Now, there were even more leaks because yes, we're getting Pokemon Legends ZA, which is great, which is the second game in the Pokemon Legends base, which I just want to make sure that people know this. If you don't know, Pokemon Legends ZA, Pokemon Legends Arceus, those are both mainline games. Those are not side games. Those are not spin-offs. They are mainline games with actual core canon stories overall. If you've played Pokemon Legends Arceus, you pretty much know this, considering all the ties that it has to Gen 4 and even other games as well. It is very much canon, but also Pokemon Legends ZA. Now, apparently, they are still going to be doing more. There's going to be Pokemon Legends 3. They have a tentative, I would say, works for something like that. So there's going to be more Pokemon Legends, and apparently there's going to be a multi-region Pokemon remake at Gen 11. So we could be getting 2 gens, it seems, when it comes to Gen 10 in 2026, then Gen 11 in 2030. So about 4 years apart there, which definitely would be good. That's a good amount of time considering how long it usually takes to get a different gen. They actually are increasing that time in between then. So let's go over what was said here when it comes down to this. So this was Nintendo Everything. This is once again from the big Pokemon leak, and it says that a few more major Pokemon leaks have appeared, adding the existence of Pokemon Legends 3 and a multi-region Pokemon remake. For Pokemon Legends 3, little is known at the moment. The only details uncovered is that it is set in Galar. The project is planned to be 1,000 years in the past, in which players create the first Gigamax Pokeball. Ooh, that's kind of crazy. For the multi-region Pokemon remake, there's little known here as well. The game will let the protagonists walk from Sinnoh to Hoenn, and Kitagami will be included as well. This is going by the codename Seed. We'll also throw one more thing in here as well. Gen 11 is apparently planned for 2030, but it remains to be seen if those plans will change. Now, speaking of which, while all this news is interesting, it remains to be seen how much of it comes to fruition. And I've been emphasizing this as well. Nintendo Everything is also emphasizing this. As one example, we just found out that Pokemon Legends Ho and Lugia were planned at one point before they were scrapped. It's unclear if things will change for Pokemon Legends 3 and whether the above remake is still in the works. Gen 11 could also very easily change its release year. Now, everything here is resurfacing as part of the new findings from the Terra leak. Pokemon developer Game Freak was hacked a year ago and various files were obtained. Now, we got a bit of an update on this as well. So we have an update on Seed, as this actually seems to be a game emphasizing online. A blurb states, Seed is a prototyping project for a next-generation online game playable by multiple people, set in a region that connects Hoenn and Sinnoh. Also, Xenoblade Chronicles X was used to pitch Pokemon Legends Galar. Check out this picture right here. So it appears that Game Freak is taking at least some inspiration from that title. And I'm not sure if I'm actually going to show that picture, so also keep that in mind as well. So yeah, once again, very interesting. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of different Pokemon projects that are going to be coming out, and there's going to be a lot of things, but I also just want to make sure that I stress that all of this stuff could change. Like, this stuff could change, they could scrap things, they can go back to it, there's all sorts of stuff that can happen. But what I'm seeing here is pretty positive. I like what's going on here with Pokemon Gen 10. I like the fact that it's not Switch 1 when it comes down to it, because I think that when it comes to Switch 1, I'm not sure if Game Freak was ever super comfortable with Nintendo Switch 1 development overall, considering how fast they were developing games on the platform. I think that now with the Nintendo Switch 2 being very similar to the Nintendo Switch 1 when it comes to development, in addition to having just way more overhead power, they can actually put that to good use with the new Pokemon Engine X. Having stuff like that is going to be huge for this type of game and kind of attracting the fans that really don't like Pokemon too much, or maybe they played back in the day and wanted to see the graphics just get better and the gameplay's the gameplay. I think it might get those people excited about it again. Now, for people like me who are former competitive players and I want to see how the gameplay is going to evolve from this, all of this sounds good. Underwater exploration, multiple islands here, Pokemon Legends 3, some of the stuff that they're doing, like all of it sounds exciting to me. But yes, I would love to see the better presentation. Obviously, Pokemon Company, Game Freak, they can do better when it comes to how the game's look is. They can absolutely do better than what we saw with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and what we saw with Pokemon Legends Arceus, what we saw with Pokemon Legends ZA. They can clearly just do better, and it seems like with this new Pokemon engine, that could come to fruition overall. Alright, so moving on to the next topic, let's discuss Monster Hunter Stories 3, because we've got a couple different trailers here, an extended release date trailer that I never covered before that shows off more footage of the game and the epicness of it, in addition to the Princess Ranger trailer, which is an alternate version, which is pretty cool as well. So it's just more footage on a game that's looking really good in a packed first couple months of 2026. There's going to be quite a number of big games coming out that I'm looking forward to playing quite a bit. But yeah, this game is coming out early in the year as well, and it looks fantastic. One of the coolest things about Monster Hunter Stories 3 is that it evolved essentially from a smaller Nintendo 3DS spin-off type of game to a bigger console title hybrid on PC and of course the Nintendo Switch 1, where it sold the best. And then it went all the way up now to Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC with the simultaneous release. That's what I love to see. When you see stuff like Monster Hunter Stories, which is not the mainline big Monster Hunter, but it has gameplay that definitely is up there as one of the best in the RPG category. Monster Hunter Stories 2 made multiple best of lists for me with the Nintendo Switch 1. I think that that's pretty cool that they're able to kind of invest and put more resources and make a higher quality game this time around. And the best part about it, it seems that at launch, at least on the Nintendo Switch 2, if we're seeing the Switch 2 version like they showed off at Tokyo Game Show, it's gonna run and look better than Monster Hunter Stories 2 did on the Nintendo Switch 1 when that dropped overall. So that's definitely a good thing, because it was a little rough in some of the open world areas. However, if you play Monster Hunter Stories 2 on the Nintendo Switch 2 via backwards compatibility, it runs significantly better. So it's definitely good. So get ready with that game. If you have it, or if you haven't purchased it, go ahead and pick that one up. The original Monster Hunter Stories 1, that's also on the Switch 2 as well, or other platforms. Pick those up, play them if you're into Pokemon and you're into that style of game. It is great. If you like RPGs, it is fantastic. If you're into Digimon, stuff like that, Monster Tamer games, this is one of the better ones out there. And these new trailers and gameplay footage look great. So I think it's going to be a fantastic experience overall. So what are your thoughts on the new footage in addition to Monster Hunter Stories 3 itself? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, now we're going to move on to the next topic here. And this is pretty much a dream scenario for the Nintendo Switch 2 and for Nintendo and the marketing aspect of this, because as someone who's been in sales and marketing, the fact that Nintendo picked, of course, 2025, and with the Seattle Mariners, a team that they used to have a bigger majority stake in, I'm not sure how much they have in terms of stake or owning the Seattle Mariners baseball as they do at this point, but I know that it wasn't as much influence as they did before. But of course, Nintendo's based in Seattle, like they still have ties to the team and all of that. And this year, what they did is that they actually paid for pretty big promotional marketing for the Seattle Mariners on their dark colored jerseys, and that's pretty much, I think, their away jerseys, to have a big fat Nintendo Switch 2 patch on the sleeve, which everyone can see when they're batting, when the pitcher's about to pitch. Man, that patch sticks out like a sore thumb, which is exactly what Nintendo wants. I remember when I posted this early in the year, people were like, oh, well, it looks ugly. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if it looks ugly or not on there. It's the fact that you know exactly what that thing is. And when they do the zoom ins on the cameras and all that, you can see it. And nobody would have thought, as someone who was an old school Mariners fan myself, guys, I used to watch back in the day with Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, Randy Johnson, Tino Martinez, Edgar Martinez, like all those guys, man, they had all this talent, all that bat strength and all the home runs and all the pitching and everything. And they never won a World Series. I don't think it even got to a World Series. And it got so bad for me, especially in 2001, when they were so good with Ichiro Suzuki and he was hitting everything when it comes down to it. And then they lost. And then they lost to the Yankees. And that's when I just decided that I am going to have problems if I continue watching this. But I've always kind of admired from afar, but they haven't been good. The Mariners have not been good for a while. And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this year, the Mariners are good. They make it to the playoffs. They have this crazy multi-run innings where they're able to get to where they are right now. At this point, they're up 2-0, and they have this big marketing when it comes down to this. So this is just wild. Nintendo obviously is probably ecstatic with this because they're being put in front of millions upon millions of people who would have never saw that big old Switch 2 patch and saying, oh, what's that? I remember the Nintendo Switch. Oh, the second one's out now. So yeah, this was definitely good for them, and it comes at a good time. Pokemon Legends ZA coming out this week. The bundle with Pokemon Legends ZA, that big Switch 2 patch being shown while they were batting it up and knocking it out of the park against the Toronto Blue Jays. So definitely very cool. ALCS going down. They're up 2-0. If they make it to the World Series, man, that is money well spent overall. If they make it to the World Series and people see that big old patch there, it's going to be one of the better, I would say, viewed World Series overall, because it's going to have teams like the Mariners. If they make it, they've never really been there. I don't recall them being there at all. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. And man, I would just want them to win. I want them to win. Like I said, I'm an old school Ken Griffey Jr. fan from back in the early 90s. So I would be super happy if they're able to get there. But once again, one step at a time. They're 2-0. They got to take this one home and then make it to the World Series. So pretty cool stuff there overall. So what do you guys think when it comes down to everything that we talked about here? A lot of topics, a lot of different stuff, the Pokemon leaks and all that, RPGs. So let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.